Baroque Music, Week 2. The music you have just listened to was there to remind you of how Baroque music should sound and what instruments you would normally hear from music from that period of time. We're going to continue to look at Baroque music and continue to identify it, but we're also going to learn about a couple of different concepts that also feature in Baroque music to make it sound Baroque. Please have a notepad and pen handy so you can write down any notes or answers that you may have. You're going to listen to another piece of music, and whilst you listen, I want you to try to think of the following questions. What instruments can you hear? What is the tempo or speed of the music? How many beats are in the bar? And what dynamic marking would you describe the piece as having? Here's a quick revision of what was covered a couple of weeks ago on Baroque Music, Week 1. So as mentioned previously, when listening out for Baroque music, you should hear lots of stringed instruments, but not so much woodwind, brass or percussions, as many of these had not been invented yet. There were instruments such as natural trumpets that were there, but they didn't have the valve system in place, the little buttons that they play. They just had to change the note with their embouchure, the changing of the mouth position. Very much like how you whistle. There was no keys or buttons to help you change those notes as you'd have nowadays. That's the same with woodwind and percussion. Although drums and things were around, they weren't used that often. The drums that would have been used were called timpani or kettle drums, which I'm sure you have seen. Just a reminder that the keyboard instrument used mainly at this time was the harpsichord, but you'd also find the organ as well, as church music was really prominent during this time, so organ was also around. Baroque music includes some of the following general concepts which you have come across before. Repetition, that's when a passage may be repeated again, but with a slight difference, such as the first time it could be played loud and the second time might be a little bit quieter. This kind of gives a little bit more interest to the music as well. Sequences is a passage that's repeated but the sound has got higher or lower each time. Arco and pizzicato, these are Italian terms for the various string playing techniques, bowed and plucked. The example you're going to listen to has an example of all these things. The sequence appears first, and then the repetition using the different dynamics. See if you can hear it. A concept that is used throughout music is ornaments, or ornaments I should say, because there's more than one. But there's only one that you need to know of. Baroque music can sound quite ornamental. Think of your granny's mantelpiece full of pictures and ornaments. Music is the same. So the ornament that features a lot in Baroque music is called a trill. And a trill is used to describe two notes positioned next to each other, which alternate playing very quickly. A trill is abbreviated as either a note with a TR above it, or a note with TR and a wavy squiggly line following it. The wavy line indicates how long you would play the trill for. So the trill is there to decorate and add interest to the music. Ground bass. A ground bass is a short bass line used within the Baroque period, which constantly repeats as the melody and harmony changes above it. So it could be a bar, it could be 2 bars, it could be 4 bars, nothing too long, but it's just a short passage which repeated over and over and over again during the Baroque period. Not to be confused with ostinato or riff. The ground bass is played on bass instruments, so during this period of music it would have been played on either cello, harpsichord, organ, or a combination of these instruments. One of the most famous pieces of music which uses a ground bass is Pachelbel's Canon in D. Many of you might have heard of this, as it is often used at weddings nowadays. So we're going to listen to a short section of the original piece and try to listen to the bass notes or instruments. From that last audio track, you should have heard the bass notes or chords repeated over and over and over again. It was the same pattern throughout, but the melody changed above it. Watch this next video. This is a video that is based on those notes from Pachelbel's Canon, but which are now used, in modern day music, some of which you may recognise already.
I'm going to leave you with this little story. It's about this piece of music. It's a very popular piece of music. I'm sure you all know it, but I'll sing the melody right now. Just... Yeah, Pachelbel's Canon in D. It's a big hit in the classical world, and I know this because I'm a geek. I know what you're thinking. It's like, Rob, you can't be a geek. You play guitar. You're so cool. Okay, you weren't thinking that, but I was. Well, I haven't always been this cool because I haven't always played guitar. I started out on the cello. Yeah, cello is a wonderful, beautiful instrument. It's cool to be an adult that plays a cello. Being a kid that played the cello sucked. Because there's no way to be cool when your instrument is larger than you. When you walk to school with the cello, you're like a wounded gazelle on the Serengeti, man. The bullies just smell you coming from a mile away. Ooh, I don't know what that thing is, but I know I'm going to break it. But I put up with all of the abuse because I love the music that we played. I love everything we played in orchestra, except this. I hate Pachelbel's Canon in D with a passion. I hate it so much because the cello part is the worst cello part ever written in the history of cello parts. It's 8 quarter notes that we repeated over and over again. They are as follows. D, A, B, F sharp, G, D, G, A. And that's all we got to play. We repeated those 8 notes 54 times. I counted. Because I had nothing else to do. I would sit back and listen to the violins get lovely melodies, the violas would get lovely melodies, the second violins would get lovely melodies, which should just not happen. And the cello, we got stuck with 8 crappy, lousy, stinking notes. And I began to wonder why. Why would Pachelbel do that to us? Such a beautiful instrument. And my theory was he once dated a cellist. And she dissed him really bad. And so for the rest of his life, he came up with the worst cello parts he could ever think of. It wouldn't be so bad if I didn't hear him every day. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Rob, don't listen to classical radio anymore. It doesn't matter. Pachelbel's following me. It sounds paranoid, but he's following you too. You hear him every day. I don't know, I went to my step-nephew-in-law's 8th grade graduation, and their graduation song was a song by Vitamin C. No. As we go on, we'll remember, la da 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 da. So on the drive home, I turned on some classic rock, some Aerosmith. There was a time when I was so broken-hearted, la da 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 da. So I got home, I thought I'd clear my mind with some folk music. No, listen children to my story, it was written long ago. They do Pachelbel just like everybody does Pachelbel, just to torment me. I don't even go to Taco Bell anymore because it sounds too close. I hate Pachelbel with a passion. I don't even know his first name. It's probably Johann. They're all named Johann. When you think about it, he's the original one-hit wonder. He had one hit 300 years ago. It's my cross to bear my entire life. Where are they now? That's what I want to know. Where are you now, Pachelbel? VH1's I Love the 1790s. Where is it? And if he would just stay away from music that I loved, it would be better, but he won't. He is shameless. He will follow me to the ends of the earth. I went to Horde Festival thinking, no, he couldn't possibly follow me to the Horde Festival. But you know who was at the Horde Festival? Blues Traveler. So that means that Pachelbel was also at the Horde Festival. So suck it in, suck it in, suck it in. We're in Berlin or in Tin. Make a desperate move and then you're in. So I figure I'm going to listen to punk rock for the rest of my life. No dice. Do you have the time to listen to me whine? You know I'm getting really bored, 'cause all songs have the same damn chords. Punk music is a joke, it's really just Baroque. Am I just paranoid? Na 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 na. I wanna push you around, well I will. I wanna push you down, well I will. Wow, it's been good living with you. And my machine head is better than the rest. My machine head is better than the... See the stone set in her eye, see the thorn twist in her... I'm all out of faith, this is how I feel. I'm cold and I'm ashamed, lying naked on the floor. He was a boy, she was a girl. Could it be any more obvious? We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. On your mark, get set and go now. Got a dream and we just know now. No woman, no cry. When I find myself in times of trouble, Pachelbel's always following me. I'll see you in hell, Pachelbel. Oh, Pachelbel, Pachelbel. I'll see your ass in hell. I'll see you in hell, Pachelbel. Thank you so much, Penn State. Enjoy the rest of the show. Thanks.
So, in summary for Baroque music this week, which family of instruments do you associate with Baroque music, and how are they played? What is a ground bass? Can you name the different keyboard instruments used during this period? Can you identify the ornament used in Baroque music? Now that you have gone through this presentation, I would like you now to take your time and complete the quiz. Thanks.